Your presenter today will be Harvinder Singh Phoolka. Mr. Phoolka is a senior advocate, human rights activist, and author. He has received threatening letters for unearthing developments of involvements of ruling political party leaders in what the Asian age calls the mother of all cover-ups in a front-page story. The special anniversary edition of Outlook magazine includes Mr. Phoolka in its list of 50 people that have made a difference in India, alongside Amartya Singh and Abhinav Ghosh. Now, we strongly urge you to help make today's session interactive. In the side panel, please state your name, city, and question, and all address questions to me so I can compile them for Mr. Phoolka. Now, with that, I'd like to hand it over to Mr. Phoolka.
Thank you, Gurvinder. To all my audience, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And today's session, as Gurvinder told you, 1.5 hours, and I have divided it into 5 sections. And these sections are, first, I will talk about how I got involved. In the second, we'll talk about understanding the issues. In the third, we will talk about the role of the civil society. And in the fourth, we'll talk about updates on the pending cases. And then the last, what can you do? After section 3, I will take the questions, and at the end of the session again, we'll take the questions, whatever you have. Now, how I got involved. I was in Delhi on 31st October and also in 1st November 1984. I have myself experienced, and even I had a miraculous escape. Thanks to an army truck which arrived right at that time, and me and my wife both were evacuated by that army truck when our house was under attack by the mob. But there were many others who were not as lucky as we were. In Delhi alone, 4,006 were killed in just 3 days, November 1, November 2, November 3. ABC, by the figures, 1 person killed every minute. Throughout India, 7,000 were killed throughout India. As far as the government figures are concerned, in Delhi, the government came out with a figure of 2,733 killed. We challenged this figure. We submitted a list of 3,870 in 1985 before the Justice Mishra Commission. Now, those were the days. Today, one cannot even believe it, that Delhi could be like this. We will talk about Delhi and focus on Delhi in this seminar. I mean, it is very difficult for anyone to imagine, and particularly for the young generation. There was not even a single place in Delhi where a Sikh could feel secure. There was not even a single Sikh, I would stress, not even a single Sikh family which felt secure and which did not feel threatened. I would give you the example of 2 of the topmost Sikhs of the country, the President of India and one of the Union Ministers, Bhutta Singh. The police records shows that Bhutta Singh asked for the additional force because he is under threat. Now this is the police logbooks which show this. Gyani Jal Singh, the president of the country, he told Khushwant Singh, the known journalist whom I don't need to give an introduction. Gyani Jal Singh told Khushwant Singh, I am also not safe outside the President House. When Khushwant Singh told Gyani Jal Singh that his house is likely to be attacked, the people are gathering, Gyani Jal Singh told him, please go to a Hindu neighbor, I can't help you. That was the status of Delhi, that even Gyani, the President of India, could not help and expressed his helplessness. Another example, the Bangladesh war hero, Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora, before whom an army of 90,000 surrendered during 1971 Bangladesh war. He could not sleep in his own house. Mr. I.K. Gujral, who later on became the Prime Minister of the country, I.K. Gujral took him to his house and he remained at Gujral's house for 3 days. This was the state in Delhi at that time. Anyhow, we were lucky ones who got saved. After that, I started visiting relief camps, and this happened to be in the last week of November '84 itself. And I happened to visit the relief camp in Farsh Bazaar. The victims from the Tralokpuri area were shifted there and given shelter in that Farsh Bazaar relief camp. Now let me tell you, Tralokpuri was the area where 2 blocks were predominantly occupied by the Sikhs, block 30 and 32. In those 2 blocks, 400 Sikhs were killed. There was hardly any male member which were left alive in these 2 blocks. In Farsh Bazaar, the status was that there was hardly any family which had an adult male survivor. There was nobody to fill up their claim forms. There was nobody to prepare the affidavits for them. These relief camps were being manned by an organization called Nagarik Ekta Manch. Nagarik Ekta Manch were the people who were some journalists, some professors, and other prominent citizens. On 1st November, these people ran from pillar to post to control the violence. They were unable. They couldn't do that. On 2nd November, they took out a peace march. On 2nd November, one delegation of the Supreme Court lawyers went in their robes. They collected at the Supreme Court, and in their full robes, they went to the East Delhi area and themselves witnessed the massacre. Justice Tarkunde, Mr. Shanti Bhushan, Ram Jethmalani, and many others, they were among those group. But they also couldn't do much. The violence continued till 3rd evening. So these people said that we cannot control the violence. At least we should look after the injured and look after the victims. On 2nd November, they formed a group called Nagarik Ekta Manch. And this was the group which then ultimately they went and looked after the relief camps. Among these groups, there were many students. And 2 of these students I will mention you who have made their name later on. Sonali Bose, who made this movie Amu on 1984. She was a student at that time, and she used to visit the relief camps. The other one is Sagarika Ghosh, the wife of Rajdeep Sardesai, the owner of CNN-IBN. Sagarika was in Morinda House and used to go along with her teachers to the relief camps to look after the victims. This was the state of affairs. At that time, there were, till the third week of November, nobody had any idea how many people have been killed. The then government tried to underplay the extent of the loss of life. Home Minister gave a statement in the second week of November that only 600 Sikhs have been killed throughout the country. On 17th November, Mr. Bajpai came out a list of 2,800 killed in Delhi alone. The next very day, Congress termed Bajpai, he is anti-national. He is giving a high figure. He is trying to protect the Sikhs. This was the atmosphere. I am told Bajpai said, I do not care, let them call me whatever they want, what I want to save the nation. This evidence has even come. The newspaper cuttings have also come before the Nanavati Commission. During those days, there were human rights groups which when they realized, ultimately the figure of 2,733, the government came out in 1987. After 3 years, they admitted that yes, the figure of 2,800 given on 17th November was very close to the actual figure which the government admitted in 1987 after 3 years. When these prominent citizens, they realized that the government is trying to shield the guilty, not to come out with the true story, with the statement of Rajiv Gandhi on 19th November, जब एक बड़ा पेड़ गिरता है तो धरती हिलती है, he tried to pass it on as कि धरती तो थोड़ी सी हिलती है, बड़े पेड़ के नीचे जो 4-5 हजार आ गए तो कोई बात नहीं. After that, two major human rights groups, PUCL and PUDR, they started their own investigations and they came out with a report named Who Are the Guilty. In that report, they came out with the evidence of involvement of 4 Congress MPs at that time. Mr. H.K.L. Bhagat, Jagdish Titler, Dharmdas Shastri, and Sajjan Kumar. But in spite of that, no action was taken. A second human rights group also then started their survey. Justice Tarkunde, a renowned judge, retired judge at that time, he started his investigation and they also came out with the report with a similar finding that in every colony, the victims have named the Congress leaders. Almost everywhere the mob was led by the Congress leaders. The government still didn't move, didn't take any action. Then another group headed by Justice SikhRI, the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India, Justice S.M. SikhRI. He headed this team called the SikhRI Commission, Citizens Commission, and there was one retired governor, one retired cabinet secretary, one retired foreign secretary in this group. They also came out with the report with the similar findings. And they all asked the government to appoint at least a commission of inquiry. The then Rajiv government refused to do it. I started, like I told you, from the relief camps. When I went to the relief camps, I realized there is a dire necessity of a lawyer. In fact, before that, me and my wife, we had both decided to go back to Punjab because we had all our relations in Punjab and we were the only 2 among our families who were in Delhi. We were in fact winding up to move back to Punjab. when I had this chance visit to the Farsh Bazaar relief camp. After that, we decided to stay back. And I, being a lawyer, I decided to do my bit to help these people who have not been as lucky as we have been. Then first case which I handled was in the first week of December. One old Sardarji from Rajasthan, Alwar, came to me in the High Court. Some lawyers told him that Mr. Phoolka goes to the relief camps, you can go to him. So he came to me and his story was so moving. His daughter and son-in-law were living in Delhi. His son-in-law had his own factory in Anand Parbat in Karol Bagh. During those days, they had their own house, they had TV, they had motorcycle, fridge, every gadget, because these were not as common as they are now. These were the luxury during those days in 1984. His son-in-law Sahab Singh was killed. Sahab Singh's wife was killed. Sahab Singh's son, who was just 16 years old, was killed. Sahab Singh's brother, who was in army, was killed. All four were killed in the house, and who were left? Only the young daughters. The eldest one was 13 years old. And she had three sisters, and the youngest one was just 3 years old that time. And these children were sent to Nari Niketan by the government that they do not have any surviving parent. So when this grandfather came and he wanted their custody, he was asked to bring a custody certificate from the court, a order from the court that the custody of the children should be given to them. I filed a habeas corpus petition in the High Court, and thanks to the then Chief Justice, he immediately passed the orders and the custody was given to the grandfather. So that was the first case which I handled at that time. After that, after a long delay, in May 1985, after Rajiv Longowal Accord, the government announced the appointment of Mishra Commission. In between, there has been many developments. The PUDR filed a writ in the High Court for the appointment of a commission of inquiry. Government opposed that writ like anything. By chance, that writ came up before the bench headed by Justice Sachar. Justice Sachar was in favor of passing order of appointing a commission of inquiry. Justice Sachar asked the government that such a huge scale violence have taken place, what opposition you could have in just appointing a commission of inquiry. You won't believe it. The case was transferred from Justice Sachar. The roster was changed, and the case was handed over to another bench, which bench dismissed the case, said there's no commission of inquiry can be appointed. Another case, Mr. Rahul Bedi, a journalist from Indian Express, he filed a case in the High Court that he was a witness to the Trilokpuri massacre, where 406 were killed in the 2 blocks. He filed a case that I myself went to the police commissioner's office, and I told the police commissioner's office, that time the officer who was present there, Mr. Nikhil Kumar, that a full-scale massacre is going on in Trilokpuri. Mr. Nikhil Kumar didn't take any action, and after that the police took at least 6 to 7 hours to reach on the spot, and in those 6 to 7 hours, hundreds of more Sikhs were killed. And would you believe it? High Court dismissed the writ petition. Said the police has appointed an inquiry by a judicial commissioner. That commissioner will decide. And the allegations were against even the senior to that judicial commissioner. And that Nikhil Kumar later on became the commissioner of police. He became the director general of police. And later on he was the MP from the Congress party. Now in May, when the government announced the appointment of Mishra Commissioner of Inquiry, at that time I went to Mr. Khushwant Singh and I requested Khushwant that we should all unite together. We should form a joint committee to meet the government, because government is trying its best to shield the guilty. Khushwant fully agreed with me and he took me to Soli Sarabji. Soli Sarabji liked the idea and he took the initiative. Ultimately, a committee came to be formed. The name of the committee was Citizens Justice Committee. Justice S.M. SikhRI, the former Chief Justice of India, he became the president of the committee. Justice Tarkunde, Soli Sarabji, Govinda Mukhoti, Rajni Kothari, the people like them, and Khushwant Singh, Justice Narula, General Roda, they all were among the members. And after seeing my work for a month or two, they appointed me as the secretary to that committee. Now that was a big jump for me. I had own experience of just 3 years at bar at that time. A big responsibility came over me and I had to give up my practice because this was a huge task. Mr. Sarabji had given me a very clear instructions. I do not want thousands of the affidavits. Give me just 50, which has very clear evidence and direct. No opinion, no hearsay. Now that was the job given to me, and there was large number of affidavits which we received. I myself interviewed almost each and every victim, and we finally selected 500 affidavits and we filed it. Now Justice Mishra was a sitting judge of the Supreme Court, and later on he became the Chief Justice of India. Later on we realized that the whole job was Justice Mishra appointed an investigation agency. What the investigating agency was doing, they were supposed to investigate and find who are the guilty. What that investigating agency was doing, they were only inquiring about the victims and finding the loopholes in the affidavits given by the victims. That was the only task the investigating agency of Justice Mishra was doing. They tried their best. They could not break even a single victim out of these 500. I mean, all these 500 affidavits, the investigating agency tried their best. They couldn't find any loophole in even a single story. And these were the direct evidence naming Bhagat, Sajjan Kumar, Titler, and Dharmdas Shastri. At the end of the commission, what Justice Mishra did, he said, it's not my job to identify anybody. Appoint another committee to identify. Now in 87, it was left to another committee to identify. After that, there has been committee after committee after committee after committee. Nanavati Commission appointed in 2000 was the 10th. There were more number of commissions and committees than the number of cases convicted. 2,733 killed in Delhi alone, according to the government figure. Only 10 cases of murder cases till today have resulted in conviction, and just 25 people have been convicted. Not even a single one of them was the leader of the mob. Not even a single one is even the middle rank leader or even the lower rank leader. The shielding the guilty is gone to the extent. I give you an example. The recent case of Sajjan Kumar which is going on. This is of Delhi Kent police station and in the Palam colony area. According to Nanavati Commission, in this area 341 Sikhs were killed. 185 houses were burnt. More than 100 vehicles were burnt. 110 shops were burnt. And it is really shocking that when the Rojnamcha of that police station was produced in the court. Now let me tell you what the Rojnamcha is. Rojnamcha is a register where the police record all the information of the offences which they receive. When the Rojnamcha of this police station was produced on November 1, 2 and 3, they said no incident has taken place in the area. In Nanavati Commission's finding, in these 3 days, 341 Sikhs were killed, and the police register shows no incident has taken place in the area. This is the extent to which the police and the government has gone to shield the guilty. Now, we have a time constraint. Gurvinder was asking me that how long I will go on. I say if you give me a free time, then it will be difficult for you to stop me. 26 years of experience probably will go on and go on for many days. But we have a time constraint today. So let me go over to the next section now. Understanding the issues. Now the biggest task that time was the rehabilitation of the victims. There were more than 2,000 families who lost their earning member. There are many families where the men were well placed. I know of many families who had well established businesses, but the ladies were uneducated. Now these people, more than 2,000 families lost their earning member, they lost their houses, the houses were completely burnt, ruined, their businesses were completely burnt and ruined. Who were left? The widows and the young children. Those also under a trauma, who had undergone such a trauma, seeing their fathers, their brothers being brutally killed by the mob in front of their own eyes. The biggest problem was to rehabilitate them. Another, about 5,000 families who have been totally uprooted. Though they didn't lose their earning member, but they lost their houses, they lost everything, they lost their businesses. And they could not go back to their old houses because the atmosphere was so vitiated. A campaign was started by at that time that all the Sikhs are anti-national. In December 1984, the Congress put up the posters with a picture of a Sikh with "Can you trust this man?" Now this is the kind of atmosphere which was created. The whole of the community was painted as anti-national. The same Sikh community who had given the maximum sacrifices for the freedom of this country. I don't need to repeat the figures. That among those who were hanged, the community, Sikh community, which is just 2%, 90% of them were Sikhs. Among those who were sent to Kalapani in Andaman and Nicobars, 80% of them were Sikhs. Among those who were killed by the bullets, 60% of them were Sikhs. This is the contribution and the community. And not only that, 1961 war, 62, 1962 war, 1965 war, 1971 war. Maximum medals were won by Sikhs. Maximum sacrifices were given by Sikhs. And today you have this ruling party, the government, putting the posters. Can you trust this man? And they are the anti-national. That is the kind of atmosphere. These 5,000 families could not go back and live in their own houses. In addition, there were another about 20,000 families which lost their businesses completely. Their shops, their factories were totally burnt. Their houses were left, but no means of livelihood. There were another about 25 to 30,000 families which had now this picture which you are saying, Gurvinder, keep this picture for a moment. This is of Paharganj. Now this shop, now put on that earlier picture. That, yes. Now this is a shop called Sahni Paints. This was one of the well-known paint shops in this area. 4 brothers owned this shop. When they were told that the area had been attacked, the shops are being broken and looted, their cash was lying. All 4 of them came together to take out the cash. They were here in this shop. All 4 were burnt alive in this, and they had even a revolver. And just behind this mob, which we cannot see, there were policemen standing with the stain guns in their hands. We have the witnesses from the next house who have given the evidence. No action. No action has been taken against anyone. This is the kind of the thing. Now I was telling you about the rehabilitation. Now what these people have received, those who have lost their earning member, for the killing, the government gave a compensation of rupees 10,000. 10,000. Now a person, a family who has lost their earning member, now with 10,000, what that poor widow will do? When she shifts to another house, will she be able to buy the furniture? Will she be able to buy the household? Or will she be able to educate the children? That is for the complete loss of the house, another 10,000 was given, just 10,000. Now this 10,000 for the killing. Now for the killing, the 10,000 was given in 1985. We made a hue and cry, and Justice Mishra recommended in 1986 another 10,000 was given. In 1996, thanks to Justice Anil Dev Singh of Delhi High Court, he gave a judgment that 3.5 lakh should be given to each victim. And the government gave it only in Delhi. Outside Delhi, that money was not given. In Delhi, they got, in 96, they got 3.5 lakh. In 2006, after the Nanavati Commission, then the government gave the 3.5 lakhs to in whole of India to those people killed. Now you see 84 the person killed getting the compensation after 22 years. Now that answers why I continue to fight. It has taken 22 years to get the compensation. That also not a due compensation. That is also only a symbolic compensation. For the houses, 10,000 rupees was given in 1984. In 2006, 1 lakh was given. It was enhanced to 1 lakh. Now, for injury, in 1984, 2,000 rupees was given for the injury. In 2006, thanks to a judgment of Justice Geeta Mittal of Delhi High Court, it was enhanced to 1.25 lakh. and that also government took a long time. Judgment was it took almost 2 years to implement judgment. In 2006, the balance compensation of 1,23,000 was given in 2006. Now I know the cases where a person whose leg has been cut or arm has been cut, he had received just 2,000 rupees. One case I know of Gurcharan Singh. He was totally burnt. He was bedridden. He got just 2,000 rupees as a compensation. And in 2006, he got balance 1,23,000. He died in 2009 after 25 years on the bed. Now, if we had not continued with this fight, then probably they wouldn't have got this meager enhancement which they have been able to receive. Now we talk of punishing the guilty. The cases were closed by the police itself. No action was taken by the police. Nanavati Commission recommended, and then these cases against Titler and Sajjan Kumar are registered in the end of 2005. The case against Titler has been closed, but that is the case against Sajjan Kumar which is now continuing. And very strong evidence has come in that case. Thanks to Justice A.P. Shah of Delhi High Court, who appointed the special public prosecutor, and thanks to that special public prosecutor, Mr. R.S. Chima, who has worked very hard in the case, that such a strong evidence has come, and we are quite hopeful that we will be able to secure the punishment, at least in this case against Sajjan Kumar. I move on to the next section. That is the role of the civil society. Now let me confess here, very honestly, that if the issue is alive today, it is not because of the Sikh leadership. I repeat, this issue is alive till today not because of the Sikh leadership, or for that matter, because of the Sikh community. If it is alive till today, it is because of the civil society. It is because of the people like Soli Sarabji, Tarkunde, and now the people like Kuldeep Nayyar and Rajni Kothari and the people like them. And I tell you, till today, Soli Sarabji, who became the Attorney General twice, till today, whenever he meet me in the Supreme Court, every time he asks me, what's happening in those cases? What's happening in those cases? I mean, this is the level of concern which these people show. And it is the support of these people and the support of the media that this issue is alive. Otherwise, if I tell you, our leadership has dumped this issue long back. When we were preparing the affidavits in 1985 in Mishra Commission, that time only some of these Akali leaders used to come and tell me, you are wasting your time. कुछ निकलना पाना था बच्चों है नहीं, तुसी हमें अपना time व्यर्थ गवा रहे हो. This was the approach. When Nanavati Commission was appointed in the year 2000, many Sikh leaders said that you people are playing in the hands of the BJP by raking this issue again and again, as if these were the BJP members who were killed. And these were not the Sikhs who were killed. These are the kind of allegations which we had to hear from a section of our own leadership. Now, one thing more, a statement which I am going to make is that it is not only the leadership, but even the community failed the victims. The community, Sikhs as a community, failed. The Sikhs failed to rehabilitate the people. The government was indifferent. Government didn't want to do anything. And the community also didn't do it. We people feel so much pride in putting gold on our gurdwaras. We feel so much great that we spend lavish amount of money on the langar in the gurdwaras. And when it comes to giving the help to these victims, there's hardly or very less percentage which come forward. I fail to understand. I sometimes feel so much guilty seeing tons of tons being put in the gurdwaras everywhere in Delhi. When these people do not have, when the victims do not have money to send their children to the schools. I have myself experienced that when I sent to the Gurdwara committee a case for exemption from the payment of the fee, and what it comes, it has to, one has to run from pillar to post to seek that at least इन्हां दी फीस तो माफ कर दो, एंड फीस माफ करने तो बाद भी बिल आ जाता 10,000 रुपया साल का पे कर दो. From where these people are going to pay? Some of you must have seen that documentary Widow Colony. Go and see in what state they are living. And then you look at your gurdwaras. How justified is the Sikh community in showing off that we are so rich, we have so much money, we can build our gurdwaras with the gold. What about the responsibility towards these people? I sometimes feel so guilty to see the state of affairs of the community. I am sorry to say that the community has gone far, far away from the message of Guru Nanak, the concept of seva and the service to humanity. And on the other side, when I see the people like Justice Tarkunde, there was another person, people like Mr. S.C. Malik. They were so much moved, so much attached. They never bothered about the government. They never bothered about the clout of Bhagat or Sajjan Kumar and Titler. They stood with us. They were the one who came in the forward, came in front when our leaders were scared to do so. I treat them as much better Sikhs than the Sikhs who are leading the community today. I'm sorry to say so. Now again, it is the civil society which has come forward. On 1st November, the PUCL, PUDR and Lokra Sangathan, they are having a candlelight vigil at India Gate. They have given a call to hold the candlelight vigil to send a message to the whole of the country that the people of the country will not accept and will not tolerate this kind of violence. And the civil society sent a clear message that if the guilty of 84 had been punished, you wouldn't have seen these killings in Mumbai in 1993 and in Gujarat in 2002. And if today you forget about 84, tomorrow you forget about 93 Bombay and then about Gujarat, then be ready. Be ready for another one. And you never know which community may be the target. These politicians will not mind killing a few hundred or a few thousand to come into power. In 1984, the Congress came in power with a thumping majority after killing the Sikhs. In 1993, Shiv Sena came in power in Mumbai. In 2002, Modi came in power in Gujarat. You never know whose turn comes next. I had written an article when the Jayalalitha during her last tenure She had arrested Sankaracharya and she was spreading this campaign against the Brahmins. That time I had written an article, don't think that only minorities will remain the target of these politicians. You never know when you become the target. When the turn of Brahmins may come in Tamil Nadu, because Dravidians are in a majority. So as long as you do not uphold the rule of law, anyone can be a target. Don't think it is only the others who are being targeted. Now this is the message which the civil society is sending very loud and very clear. Now this is the end of the third session, and I request Gurvinder, if there are any questions, then we'll take the questions. After that we'll proceed to the other two sections.
Thank you, Mr. Phoolka. We do have a couple of questions. The first one comes from Harmeet Singh, and his question is, why do you think fighting a judiciary that doesn't have the jurisprudence to prosecute a government that will end up in prosecution of the criminals, especially when India has no laws against race crimes and hate crimes?
You see, this some efforts have been made to prosecute some of the leaders abroad in other countries. Now India is not a signatory to the International Court of Justice. That's the reason probably that India didn't sign it. They knew it, that they will probably have to face the music one day in those courts. So you cannot prosecute them there. But at the same time, there are the local laws of many countries, like in US, like in Brazil, like I'm told in Belgium also, and many other countries, which allow you to prosecute the people who have committed the crime against the humanity. Now these are the law expert of those laws and those countries who will have to guide in this. I am not an expert, neither am I an expert in the international law. Many times people have asked me this question in US as well as in England about moving to the international courts and UNO. So I told them I am not an expert into international law. You may engage the services of anyone, any expert, and whatever material we have with us, we will make it readily available to them. Yes, Gurvinder.
Thank you, Mr. Phoolka.
Gurvinderji, next question.
Hanji, I have a question. I have actually a series of.
Show the question. Can you also show the question on my screen if you have typed one?
Sure. Give me
if
one
it's possible.
We have Avneet Kaur joining in from DC, and she has a couple of questions for you. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Let me just see if I can present you that question.
Or you can read it if you don't have it. And
Sure. So in her first question is, in your view, what was the role of the senior Congress leaders such as Kamal Nath in '84, and does he have any political immunity? And is it more important to have him captured over others like Titler and Sajjan Kumar?
now, a good question. Now, as far as the Kamal Nath is concerned, the Kamal Nath role is well documented even in records. He was present at Gurdwara Rakabganj when the attack at the Gurdwara Rakabganj was going on 1st November 1984. And he is the first leader whose name appeared in the newspapers. On 2nd November 1984, the Indian Express reported that Kamal Nath was present and was leading the mob. Mr. Sanjay Suri, the then reporter of Indian Express, is now based in England, and he came all the way from London to give his evidence before Nanavati Commission, and he deposed that he has himself seen Kamal Nath. Then there are also some witnesses from the Gurdwara, and then most important is the police record itself shows that Kamal Nath was present. And 2 Sikhs were burnt alive there in that, and Gurdwara was damaged, was burnt. the house of the manager, which is in the Gurdwara complex, was totally ransacked and burnt. And now, over there at the instructions of Kamal Nath, instead of taking any action against the mob, the police arrested the Sikhs who were inside the Gurdwara. So this is the kind of, this is the worst kind of a crime against the humanity. And but unfortunately, no action has been taken against Kamal Nath. And unfortunately, also the reason being that I do not want to go to the background, that our own leaders do not want to take any action against him. And it is the Delhi Gurdwara committee who could be the complainant, who could file a case because the Gurdwara was burnt and damaged. But all of you know there was a big controversy over it, and they do not want to come forward and don't want to do it. Now the case is going on in America, and so it is going on, and it should start in India also. But there are many hurdles in this, and if the Gurdwara committee comes forward, then we can start the case in India. Yes, Harvinder, next question.
The second question we have from Avneet Kaur is, were there any eyewitnesses regarding Kamal Nath's role as a perpetrator, and are there any of them still alive?
Yes, there were two people who are still alive. I mentioned Sanjay Puri, and there's one manager from the Gurdwara committee, and Mr. Mukhtar Singh. There are two witnesses who are still alive, very much there, and they are willing to give their evidence. And I'm sure they will come and depose in the U.S. courts if need be.
Thank you, sir. And the third and the final one, I think you've already covered this, is what do you think will likely be the outcome of the lawsuit against Kamal Nath?
So that I do not know about the U.S. laws, and that any lawyer who is conversant with the U.S. laws, he will be a better person to in fact comment on that.
Thank you, Ji. And we have Satpreet Kaur.
Yes, okay. Yes, this is a question.
Yeah, Satpreet Kaur says, after receiving so much pushback from the Sikh community, how are you still able to maintain your SikhRI? Many other people would be disillusioned.
Yeah, I am not Sikh because of the Sikh community or because of the leadership. I am Sikh because of my Guru, and that is what gives me strength.
Thank you, Ji. The other question we have is from...
I see one question on the screen. Why aren't personalities like Arundhati Roy with you?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Yeah, she has never come forward otherwise, but I am sure she is with us. If need be, she will definitely come. There has not been any chance till now, and we were thinking of calling her at one of the functions on my book. Now, most of you must have heard that I have written a book along with Mr. Manoj Mitta, and who is the senior editor in the Times of India. And Mr. Mitta is one of the highly reputed legal journalists in India. Now, this the name of the book is When a Tree Shook Delhi. Now, this book was adjudged by India Today as the national bestseller, and Outlook adjudged this book as the book of the year 2007. And many newspapers, almost all the newspapers and magazines have carried the review on this book. So we were in fact trying to call her in one of these functions and to on the book, but she was not available. Otherwise, she would have been present there. Next question.
We have a question from Harvinder Singh Randhawa, and he's wondering, how do we raise the profile of the genocide of Sikhs in 84 and in Punjab from 84 to today's date?
I think this is the kind of the the things which you are doing now, thanks to Sikh Research Institute, first of all, to disseminate the information, let the people know that what all happened, and then after that to start the debates. And now another thing, to keep the material in the libraries. And now what we are doing, that Sikh Research Institute along with the Nanak Shahi Trust have distillized all the material which we have, almost 2 lakh pages of this November 84 carnage, and now we are going to convert it into a presentable library, a digital library. And there's one new organization which are very soon are going to be started, that is the Khalra Center to defend the defenders. That is, the purpose of that center is to defend the human right activists. Now that Colin Gonsalves, the senior advocate, is starting that center, and I am when I have spoken to the Vinderpal Sikh Research Institute, they are giving all that material to Colin, and Colin will put it in the presentable manner and will prepare and send it to the libraries. Now that effort we are already doing, and hopefully we'll be able to prepare this in for the libraries in next about 2-3 months. Next question, please.
Sure. We have a couple from Amrik Bhamra, and one of the things they mention is a figure of 150,000 Sikhs killed from Joyce Pettigrew. Would that include those killed in Delhi?
I don't know. The person who is given the figure, you ask him, he would be the better person to comment on that.
And how can people living abroad help with this issue?
That we will do. That's the last section in which we will be dealing with it. I think now, Gurvinder, should we continue?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Because otherwise, till the time constraint, there will be hardly any time left for us to continue. If you have any important questions, then you can come up, or otherwise we'll continue and we'll take it at the end.
Please go ahead.
Okay, now the next section is the update on the pending cases. Now, the cases which were started after the Nanavati Commission. Now, that case against 2 cases were started against Sajjan Kumar, and 1 case was registered against Jagdish Titler. Now, let me first deal with the case against Jagdish Titler. The case against Titler was closed by the CBI, and we filed a protest petition, that is to ask the court not to accept the CBI's closure report and to direct the further investigation and to in fact start the prosecute Titler. Now that case was still pending when unfortunately the main witness against Jagdish Titler, Mr. Gyani Surinder Singh, he died and he passed away. That was a big in fact setback to the case. The other witness who is there in America, Jasbir Singh, he's there, and so that case is still pending, and the court is still to decide what to do about it, and that is one. The other cases are 2 cases are registered against Sajjan Kumar. One is regarding the Delhi Kent police station, and the other is regarding Sultanpuri police station. The case started against the Delhi Kent and Sultanpuri. You probably all of you must have read in the newspapers that the court issued the warrants. Sajjan Kumar went underground. The person with the Z plus security was not traceable. I mean, it was for almost for 10 days that he was underground, and so this is the kind of the whole drama which was going on. That it clearly shows that the government didn't want to arrest him, and was only doing a kind of a drama that he is not available. They knew it very well because he is under Z plus security. Security always remained with him, and it cannot be expected that a person with that kind of a security is missing and has gone underground, and the government doesn't even know where he is. Now that case, one of that case, when Delhi Kent case went for evidence, The other Sultanpuri case, we ourselves requested the court that should be taken up after the Delhi Kent case is over. The Delhi Kent case was going on from day to day. The three witnesses, Nirpreet Kaur, Jagdish Kaur, and Jagsher Singh, have identified Sajjan Kumar, and there's a very strong evidence against Sajjan Kumar. And Sajjan Kumar is produced defense witnesses now, and now this is the last defense witness which is going on. This, after this, the case will go on for arguments. Unfortunately, the judge who was hearing the case, has been transferred. In fact, she has been promoted. Now, unfortunately for us, but she has been promoted. Now we are trying that the case should go to the same judge, and because she has dealt with the case. Now, this is in next few days, maybe in next week, 10 days, we will know about it, or the fate of the case. The other case against Sajjan Kumar is that Sultanpuri case. The Sultanpuri case is still at initial stages. The charges have been framed against him. The trial has not started. Now Sajjan Kumar has challenged the charges, and that case is pending in the High Court now. In fact, the arguments are going on, and on Monday also that case is listed for the arguments of the CBI, and after that I will be arguing on behalf of the victims. And this will probably go on for a few more days, and then the decision will come on the framing of the charges as far as this case is concerned. Now, apart from it, there's one more case against Sajjan Kumar. Now, in that case, during the VP Singh's government, the most of the evidence was collected, and after that the government changed. The Narasimha Rao government came in power, but there was so much of evidence that the police could not hush up the case. They had to prepare a charge sheet against Sajjan Kumar, and charge sheet was finally signed by the investigating officer and his senior officer, which is of the DSP rank, the ACP. He also signed the charge sheet, ready for filing in the court. This charge sheet was signed by the ACP on 8th April 1992. But then it was suppressed, it went missing. This charge sheet surfaced in 2010 when the special public prosecutor appointed by the Delhi High Court, Mr. B.S. June, he came out with it that this charge sheet has not been filed in the court. When after 18 years in 2010, this charge sheet surfaced. Now, till today, a charge sheet of a murder case has not been filed in the court. That we are still pending, waiting for the Delhi police to file their charge sheet. That's the third case against Sajjan Kumar, which is pending. So let's see what happens in that case. Now, apart from this, there are two other cases which are pending in the trial court, and those cases are at the argument stages and likely to conclude soon. And then there are many cases pending in appeal. Those people who have been convicted, they have filed the cases, appeals against their convictions, and some of the cases are filed against the acquittals also. Those people who have cases which resulted in acquittal, the appeals have been filed. They are pending in the High Court. So this is the state as far as the pending cases are concerned. Now, Gurvinder, before we move on to the other section, that what can you do? If there's any question on this, then I think let's take the questions here. Then I'll move to the last section, that what can you do?
Sure, Ji. We have Manpreet Jassal who would like to ask a question, and I'll go ahead and unmute them so that they're able to ask them. Give me 1 second. Manpreet, go ahead.
I can't hear anything.
I can't either. Manpreet, if you're speaking up, we can't hear you. Okay, we'll come back to Manpreet in the next Q&A. We have a question from, we have a couple of them. I'm just trying to see. From Tavleen Kaur in Michigan. Her question is, do you think it's possible for material heritage to play a role in the struggle for justice or even recognition? If so, how? And an example being studying and preserving sites like Hohenschiller and other found sites where we know people were systematically killed.
Yes, I think this should have been done. In fact, these, I mean, we were trying, in fact, to make a memorial since long time. We have been trying to make a memorial in Delhi, and also to put the pictures and the names of all those killed in that memorial. But somehow it has not materialized yet. But we are still trying to do that one. And the other part is that these houses which were burnt and at that time were totally damaged. I mean, like those houses I mean, should be, if there's still some house like that in that state, it could be preserved and should be kept. And it's a good idea, it needs to be done, but now it has to be found out if there's still some house in that state. Yes.
And we have another question from Satpreet Kaur. I wasn't able to get the location, but she's asking, were the rape victims able to receive compensation or any due process?
No, there was no separate compensation for the rape cases. And in fact, if I tell you, the rape cases were not highlighted much because this is a crime which ruined the families. I mean, highlighting this crime, and I have my own views. I mean, we discussed in our own team, and probably at that very stage we knew it, that here nobody is bothered about the thousands of murders. And I mean, who will bother about these cases? I mean, rather that victim will have to go through that suffering again and again, again and again. And if nothing is going to come out, I mean, so there were not many rape cases which were highlighted. There were only some which were highlighted, and they didn't get a separate compensation.
Thank you, Ji. I'll take this final question before moving on, and this is again from Amrika Bhamra, and she's they're from Salisbury, UK.
Haji.
Can we learn from the Jews and tell the world? And would you say that the so-called Indian justice system is deliberately manipulated for those who it wants to protect?
It is very easy to talk about Jews. This is a fashion for us to talk about Jews. Are we anywhere even close to them? Let's think. Can you find even a single Jew could survive? I'm not saying survive physically, but in his community, can be a part of his community after saying that you forget about the Nazi killings, you forget about the Nazis, and you support the Nazis, what the other Jews are going to do, what the community will do to him. Now, so are we that strong? Those people who say these things, we make them our presidents of the Gurdwaras. And unfortunately, we people, I'm sorry to say so, these days, the Sikh of today, he is only talking about his history. He only feels pride in talking about the history, that this is the sacrifices Sikhs have done, this is what Sikhs have done, what is Sikhs have done. What is the present generation doing? I mean, can't we say that these leaders who protect these guilty and who go and spot these guilty, there should be a social boycott at least by us. Don't look towards the Akal Takht, don't look towards anything else. At least we people, can't we start this? Those very people come and give lectures in your own gurdwaras, very much in USA, in Canada, and in America. Will Jews allow anybody to go and address in their own community centers? So let's, if we are trying to follow the example of the Jews, I mean, let's at least try to follow some of these things. Let's try to do what we normally talk about it, what the Sikhs in the history have done. They never bothered. They never bothered about the consequences. They stood by the right thing. I'm sorry to say, these days, normally, if I have seen at many places, that a Sikh wearing a kirpan, and if you ask him about the 84, he said, "Na ji, na, asi ye pangeyan ch nahi pehante." Now, this has come a routine in Delhi. We are living in this age. This is what's happening in our own, in this generation. And this kirpan, which the Guru has given us to fight for the justice for others, to get the justice to others. After wearing this kirpan, we feel even scared, even talking about it, that we should get justice. This is the kind of the level to which we have reached, and then we are talking about the Jews. I'm sorry to use such hard words, Gurvinder. Go ahead and next question.
I think we got a couple of more questions
on the screen. Gurvinder, just a minute. This is a picture on the screen which you see now here. This is the area. This is from Talokpuri. Now, if you could see on the left side, these are the feet of the person. Gurvinder, just if you can move the cursor there to show the feet and the legs. And this is a half burnt body. I mean, the body only up to the legs burnt, and the next is also the rest part of the body. This is the kind of the state. Gurvinder, show that picture of a dog eating the human body again. Yes. Now this you read in Hindi, it's written Himmatpuri. Himmatpuri is the second name of Talokpuri. The dog is eating a human body in Talokpuri area. Now this was the state of it. And now the people talk about it, forget about it. The people say, move ahead in the life. Yes, move ahead in the life. But to secure your future, you need to do it. In one of the TV interviews, I have said, yes, we are not asking you to stand by, to just stand here and to always, to roi piti jao, 84 ho gaya, 84 ho gaya, 84 ho gaya. No, move ahead in life. But at least allow we people to do it. I mean, so that by moving ahead in the life, these lavish houses, these lavish cars which you people make, so that tomorrow no Sajjan Kumar and titler come and tell these chuggi chopdi wala, jao, जाके उस सरदार की गाड़ी छीन लो, उसकी कोठी पे कब्जा कर लो, उसकी बेटियों को उठा के ले जाओ, कोई नहीं कहेगा तुम्हें. So we are fighting for to secure the future. We are not brooding over the past. Now if you want to secure your future, now this is what I tell the people, then at least allow us to continue working. You do work, but don't criticize and don't hamper the work which we are doing. Gurvinder, next.
I think we'll why don't you go ahead with the rest of the presentation, and then we'll cover all the rest, and then because we have a couple of questions lined up.
Gurvinder, can we take up those questions first if you have any?
Sure.
Okay. Yes, are you coming?
Yes, we have a question from Ravinder Randhawa, and it says, how prepared are we as more witnesses and murderers die? Have we prepared for these circumstances? Any video recordings, any documentation? And why do we still rely on Indian system when it hasn't provided any justice? Why don't we Sikhs seek freedom from India?
I mean, I don't subscribe to that theory, and I think there's, if we talk about the neighborhood, we are much better than our neighboring countries, and at least the government, whatever the government they do, the civil society is with us. I mean, the people of India has stood with us. The media and the press have stood with us. So let's not go into that. Next question, please.
Harmeet Singh has a question. Can such a massacre happen without cooperation of the society?
Say again, I couldn't follow it.
Can such a massacre happen without the cooperation from the society?
Yes, this cannot happen. That's true. But this was primarily I tell you now, all those people who were the Congress supporters, they are killing the Sikhs. I mean, we have received we have evidence that in Sunlight Colony, the Christians were there in the mobs because they were the followers of Congress. In Trilokpuri, there were large number of Muslims who were living in Trilokpuri. They were there in the mob because they were the followers of the Congress. So this is the ruling party and the largest party, so which was killing the Sikhs, and it were all their followers, irrespective of the religion, whichever religion they belonged. They were there killing and looting the Sikhs. So this was not possible without the support of the people. That is true, but this was a section of the society, not a society as a whole. There were large number of people and the general people who were there trying to help the Sikhs, trying to protect the Sikhs purely on humanitarian grounds. Next.
We have Rakveer Singh Rak from London, UK. And the question is, do you feel there are higher powers and policies in the Indian judicial, political, national security circles which are delaying swift justice for the victims? And if so...
Definitely. These, I mean, you see, this is the government till today is trying their best to protect these people. I mean, the government is, when you see when the titler was given the clean sheet, the Home Minister is saying, I am happy that my friend is exonerated. I mean, what kind of Home Minister this is? I mean, a person who's been guilty of mass murderers, and the Home Minister saying, I am happy, my friend has been exonerated. This is the intention of the Home Minister. This is only after this that the Janal Singh threw Juta on to his issue on this Home Minister. Now this is obvious, this is clear that this the whole the official and the government machinery which are there to protect them. And I like I said earlier also, they were probably not done anything. When Nanavati, now let me say one thing more. When Nanavati report came, after that the government had rejected. The government rejected all the recommendation of Nanavati Commission. Now on 8th August, the report was tabled in the House. Along with the report, the government is also supposed to file its own response. The government rejected all the recommendation of the commission. They said no need to start the cases against writer, no need to start the cases against Sajjan Kumar. Now it was on 3 days. Of course, the opposition had to. I mean, the opposition had to oppose. The parliament was stalled. The parliament didn't move. But in those 3 days, the media, there was not even a single newspaper throughout the country which didn't criticize the government. I mean, the whole media was after the government. And as a result of that, all the allies of the government, first of all, the communists decided. That time the communists were with the government. They were supporting the government. Communists decided we will go against the government. Then the DMK, the Karnanidhi, we will go against the government. We want the guilty to be punished. Then Lalu Prasad Yadav, then Mulayam Singh Yadav, everybody, all their own lies. This, if they came out with it, it's only under that pressure that the government had to start these cases. Left to this government, they will give them the clean sheet, put them again, give them again the ministries and the topmost positions. Next question, Ravinder.
Ravinder Randava asking, how do we help our Sikh brothers and sisters? We need them to be strong and know that they are loved.
Now I think this question will be answered. Let's go on to what can we do. My next session and the last session. Ravinder?
Hanji.
Hanji. So let's go on to what can you do now. Now you see, one, most of the people who are there now listening to me in this webinar, they are well placed, they are very prominent people in their own field, and I think they know much better about what they need to do as far as the community is concerned. Now it is probably not very proper for me to give the sermons to them and to do this or do that. But the only thing what I can tell you, now you see, as far as this issue is concerned, that what help we are seeking from here is that one is that the kind of the effort which has been made in America to prosecute the Kamal Nath, I mean the similar kind of efforts will be made in the other countries also to prosecute these other leaders. That is one thing which can be done. Number two, if I tell you that, I mean all of you try your best in your own organizations, in your own gurdwaras, that at least those leaders, our own of our community, the Sikh leaders who support these killers, at least they should not be permitted to come and speak in the gurdwaras and address the gatherings in your gurdwaras. At least give a call to boycott all of them, whosoever they are. Number two. Number three, whenever anybody visits from here, the first question should be that they should first clear their stand on the issue. One, this is what as far as this issue is concerned. And the other thing which I feel that what need to be done is that we need to go back to the message of Guru Nanak, that is the service to humanity. I mean, it is not, Guru Nanak's message is not कि ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਚਮਕਦੇ ਸੋਨੇ ਦੇ ਚਮਕਦੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਹੋਣ, ਔਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਮਲਿਕ ਭਾਗੋ ਬਣ ਚੱਲੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਭਾਈ ਲਾਲੋ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੇ ਭੁੱਲੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ. Show off and this, and let's go away from this. Let's go back to the Guru Nanak's message. And wherever we are sitting, we should try and see that how best we can serve the humanity, and whatever may be the cause. If somebody in America is sitting in a small town, and if there is some cause, a human cause over there, this is the duty of the Sikh to do it there. Do not think कि मैं जाके पंजाब करांगा, मैं तो पंजाब ही करांगा. It's only in Punjab that I will do and work. I will not do it here. Do it there, because Guru Nanak, wherever Guru Nanak went, whether it was his own followers or not, immaterial, Guru Nanak himself helped and did it for the humanity. Guru Tegh Bahadur gave his life for the Kashmiri Pandits. They were not the followers of Guru Tegh. But let's learn from our Gurus. Wherever we are sitting, let us take up and let us do whatever we can for the humanity. And Gurvinder, let me here tell you, this is not the only issue which for which I work in Delhi. I mean, I am very much connected to the other issues. I am known for providing the legal aid, free legal aid. I am also handling the matters relating to the child rights. I am also handling the cases to abolish the child labor. I am also handling the cases of the children who are missing, who are kidnapped, who are taken away from their families. You all have seen that movie, Slumdog Millionaire. That story, the children who are kidnapped, I am handling those cases also. And those cases also I am handling pro bono, free of charges, like I am doing the cases of 1984. And let me tell you, handling those cases have helped me a lot in these 84 cases also. Because the reason that there's I mean, now the people know it very well, that it is not because of the politics or because of anything that I am doing it. I am doing it for the purpose of to secure the future of the nation. Gurvinder, now I think we have run out of time, and if there's any question, let's take that.
You're right, Mr. Phoolka, we are out of time, but I just wanted to ask one final one, and if you can elaborate on why do you continue to fight, and any concluding remarks after that.
Now, Gurvinder, I think during the discussion I have already answered it in a way, and one is that, like I said, to secure the future, not to brood over the past. The secondly, I have also said that it is only as a result of the continuing of this fight the victims could get the compensation after 25 years, after 21 years in 2005, 2006. Meant that they could get the compensation. It is only because of this fight that the titler as a minister had to resign and face the criminal cases. And it's only as a result of this that today we are close to at least get conviction against at least one of the leaders, that's the Sajjan Kumar. And if we get it, this will be creating a history in the country, because till today in the criminal violence, no leader worth the name has ever been punished. So this is to secure the future of the Sikhs, to secure our own, the future of our children, and to secure the future of the nation. It is necessary that this fight should continue. And Gurvinder, I thank you, and I thank Sikh Research Institute, and I thank all the attendees, all those distinguished persons who have joined in this webinar, and thank you so much. And if you have any suggestions for me, and if you have any questions which you could not ask today, you are most welcome to send me email at the email address phoolka@gmail.com. Phoolka is like PHOOLKA, phoolka@gmail.com. And Gurvinder, thank you so much. और मेरे वालों सारे श्रोतियां ਨੂੰ श्री वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Mr. Phoolka, thank you so much for this informative session, and big thanks for your service to the community. We will conclude today's session, and if you have any questions, you can get in touch with Mr. Phoolka, like he mentioned, phoolka@gmail.com, or you can get in touch with us, info@sikhri.org. And I will conclude today's session, and there will be a short feedback session which will be launched, and if you can provide us feedback on this webinar and how we can improve future sessions, we will be truly grateful. Thank you very much for attending today, and Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.